What's up, everybody? It's Brian. Let's see. I thought we might talk about Barlow knives today. Case Barlow knives in particular. I've got a few of these that I pulled out of my collection today. Actually, this guy I pulled out of my front pocket just a minute ago. You see the Case XX etched on the bolster there. And look at it this way. So this guy is, you've seen it, I've showed it before on the channel, but you know, he's got synthetic handles, which I actually like a lot. And as all Barlows, or most Barlows do, it's got this extra large bolster that gives strength to the knife. So that's one way you always can recognize a Barlow. And then, although you can get them in different blade configurations, I think the clip style, the clip point blade is probably the most common, which this guy has. And this was a gift from my friend Dwayne. It is a birth year knife for me, 1972. So that makes it extra cool. And so yeah, so that's one of my Barlows that you can see there. And then I pulled out this limited edition Barlow that I bought in 2023. So let me see if kind of get a look at him there. Beautiful knife. It's one of the reasons I bought it because I really love the looks of it. Of course, it has the stainless steel blade, or the other one has a carbon steel blade. And it has the, you know, the traditional clip point, and then it has the pin blade too. These knives all have half stops, which is not unusual for Barlows. And then I got this 2024 that I just picked up won from the knife show that was in Danville, Kentucky a couple of weekends ago. Beautiful, beautiful knife. Gotta love that stag. It is a single bladed Barlow though, so it is different in that respect to the other two knives. And it still has that traditional clip point. Of course, this is all in stainless, or the blade is in stainless, I should say. And just about a year old or so. This one does have a shield on it though. Let's see if you can see it there. And let's talk a little bit about the history of the Barlow. And I did some reading on this over the weekend, and it seems that when I was doing some research, one of the articles talked about the Romans were the ones that actually invented the first folding knife. So that doesn't really surprise me. And usually the handle material they used was bone or ivory, which again would make a lot of sense. But the first recorded mass production of the Barlow knife was attributed to Obadiah Barlow in Sheffield, England. And the article said that was around 1670, so it's been, you know, not quite 400 years, but working on it there. And then John Barlow, who was Obadiah Barlow's grandson, joined the business around 1745. And he was the one that really pushed to export the Barlow knife. And that's how they came over to America. And so if you'd been in some of the original 13 colonies in America during that time, lots of people carried a Barlow. Even George Washington, our founding father, carried a Barlow. And then if you've read much Mark Twain, you know he mentions the Barlow in his novels, and talked about how, you know, every young man in the area had a Barlow in his pocket. Another source says the Barlow knife design was fashioned in the mid-1700s by Luke Furness of Stannington, a small village outside of Sheffield, England. And evidently he put the mark 1760 on all his Barlow style pocket knives. And it says members of the Barlow family resided in Sheffield during this time, and the Barlow brothers was listed as a cutler, and 1823 director of Sheffield's Cutlers List, Samuel Barlow, on Neepson Street. I guess the original design featured one blade, and then they added the second blade later. They generally would have the comfortable kind of teardrop shaped handles on them, which made them super useful, easy to hold, easy to work with. And then the first American to really manufacture these knives in quantity was, what's his name? John Russell Company. And they were called the Russell Barlow knife. And instead of the word Barlow on the bolster, they were stamped with Russell's mark, which was like an arrow that was dissected by an arrow. And so these knives were known to be inexpensive to produce, but yet they were very sturdy and very affordable. I don't remember exactly the time frame, but I read or I saw an article that advertised the Barlow knife, and it advertised them. A single bladed knife was 15 cents, and a double bladed Barlow was 25 cents. So it wasn't hard for people to pick those up and to be able to use those. So wouldn't you like to buy a Barlow for 15 cents now, or a quarter? Like that Case puts out, or Camillus used to put out, or whoever. That would be quite the deal, wouldn't it? But anyway, there are some differences I noticed in these three Case knives I thought were kind of interesting. So I'm going to point those out to you. And generally, the blades are pretty much the same shape and thickness. They vary a little bit, and you might be able to see it some here, but like the top, this section of the blade is a bit more pronounced on my newer Barlow than the Barlow from the 70s. So I noticed that the older Barlow is like 1/100th of an inch thinner, but you know, doesn't make much difference at all. But I did notice something interesting with the bolsters. And I want to put these together here, and I don't know. Let me see if I can look at these and tell you which side it's on first. Yeah, so, you know, this one for the most part is pretty much squared off. And it's got an overall shape of being a rectangle here. This one, though, on this side of the knife, which on this one would be the pile side, is actually tapered in here from the handle. It doesn't go straight like this side does. It tapers in slightly. So I thought that was interesting. That is also true of this newer single blade Barlow, that one side tapers and the other side remains straight. So there are some differences here. Sorry, I'm probably not doing a very good job with showing you guys. Trying to use the iPad as a challenge, yeah, so some differences in these knives, but overall, just a really useful pocket knife. And I'm sure you can remember people in your family carrying these or using these, especially maybe your grandparents, grandfathers. Very popular knife in the Case brand and in other brands as well. And today they're still being made. I mean, just think about the Barlows that Rosecraft offers. I don't have them out, but I've got a couple of those Barlows. Rough Rider, of course, Smoky Mountain Knife Works brand, still offers Barlows and various finishes and whatever. I've got a Desert Fox Barlow that is a Rough Rider one. And I'm sure there's other folks putting them out too that, well, like I think GEC has a very nice Barlow in their lineup of knives. And so, great knife. If you've never had a Barlow or carried a Barlow, I would recommend it highly. They're not super heavy, and yet they've got some pretty useful blades on them for probably 90% of things I use a knife for, maybe 95% even. They would perform admirably. And so definitely don't shy away from a Barlow. It's not too large of a knife, but it's not too small of a knife. And I think for a lot of people, it would make a great carry. And man, it just feels good in the hand. That teardrop shape, it's just great. It's great. Here, Lexi, she's wanting to play down there. But yeah, I mean, you can just really get a hold of that knife and give you a lot of control for sure. So anyway, and I know that young guys back in the day put the dogs down so they can fight or play or whatever they're doing. Didn't take much, to find them a tree or something to carve on. One of the ads I saw actually included what they called, I think it was called a whittling set, and it came with like a whetstone. It came with the Barlow knife. I think you got membership in, the Whittling Club of America or something. And so it wasn't unusual to see a young man or an old man, for that matter, passing the time by whittling out something in the evening or when he had time. And I actually met a relative that I didn't know I had until recently down in Richmond, Kentucky over the weekend. Two great things about him. He is not only a relative, which, is awesome. Seems like a really good guy, but he's also a Case knife collector. And so I was great, it was really exciting to hear that. And so you might see him comment on some videos in the future as well. But anyway, you never know who you're going to run into and who might be carrying a Case knife with them. So that was pretty great. I'm going to put in actually a photo that I found. There was actually some of my relatives and my new relatives that live down around Barnes Mountain, which if you Google that, you'll find some information about Barnes Mountain here in Kentucky. And he had taken, this relative had taken a wood spool, like a thread spool, and had carved a tiny chair to go in his daughter's dollhouse. And so there's some photos of that, and I'm going to put those in the video because I just think they're fun. But anyway, all right, we've talked 15 minutes. That's a long time for me. I won't drag it out anymore, but I wanted to jump on and say hello to everybody and maybe spend some time thinking about Barlow knives today. All right, guys. Well, that's it from here. Don't forget the channel drawing comes up on the 3rd, this Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope you'll join us for that. We're going to try to do that live, me and Jonathan over at Pen and Pen Blades. We're going to try and do some live drawings there for gifts. So check that out when you have time. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you in the next video.